Todd, I'm going to let you jump right into it. What is going on in the market?
Well, thanks everyone, and thank you for joining in today. Here, we didn't do a market segment last week just due to timing. So today we're doing the market stats for the Greater Phoenix metro area for the week ending September 27th and a couple of weeks prior. Let's get right into the numbers. 29 days closed on market this past week, a 0.99 month supply. Our absorption rate's just over 100%. Our average list price is at $699 and our average sale price at $474. 100.55 is our list price to sale price retention. Sellers still just quite aren't giving up that much anymore. Looking at active, we're sitting at 8,444 current listings. We have a 5562 pending. We have 6516 closed for the month to date. And again, as we get to the end of the month and the week after, we'll extrapolate all those numbers and provide you with the month end. 2,264 listings taken this past week. That's up just a little bit. That's a good sign. Sitting at about 80 days, just under 80 days on market for active and 29 days on market for closed. So the price ranges, like we've been talking about, are pretty consistent. However, there was a little bit of a dip in the 500 and under from 58 to 57% of the entire MLS inventory. And there was an increase in the average days on market up to about 40. So something's happening in that particular market. We'll continue to watch it. 500 to $1 million market still, on fire. It's the portion of the market that's doing all the business. 32, just under 31, just over 31, percent of the entire MLS, and still running pretty briskly at 48 days. And our $1 million and up inventory, again, just keep in mind that this used to be 222 average days on the market. We're sitting at 104. It's still this particular section of the market hasn't moved much. It's always been right about 10%. But again, as you can just see, everything right now in the marketplace is moving. Looking at our spreadsheet, and this is, someone brought a great comment to me this past week. They were like, what happens if somebody's colorblind? Well, unfortunately, in my slides, you got a problem unless there's multiple shades, more than 50 shades of gray. So we'll take a look up here on the slide, and there's a center column at 2019.
Look at that, Todd, bringing out a funny joke.
There we go. Boom. And then that's the goldenrod copy. And then to the left of that, you have the salmon, which represents 2020, same week. Prior to the left of that, we have both the current week and the last week. And then those two blue columns over there, we usually talk about those mostly when we're at the month end numbers, but every once in a while we reflect, which is why that red bar goes all the way across. So 2264, that's a couple hundred more than we took the week before. And this is the point of comparison, and this is where it makes you intelligent, even if you aren't a statistician, you don't like numbers, you're not into the minutia. And 1,488 was the number of new listings taken last year, and 2,052 in 2019, both of those being banner increased years, and yet to that point, this past week, we took 2,264. So it isn't just a green win, meaning a turn in the right direction. We're just still taking, this is the biggest point that I've been making for the last year and a half, which is we are not in an inventory crisis. We have more product than we have ever had, and we've had it continuously since COVID began. In fact, actually, the year before COVID began. What's happening is just we have those additional people in the marketplace, which we'll talk about when we get to pending. So we're at 8,444 listings. We're at 8,351, not a big change, but look, last year we only had 8,378. So we finally are in excess of the number of product that we had available last year. This is a good sign. 13,900, hard to compete with that still. But again, coming soon represents 727. That's down just a little bit. Single family detached at 6,885. New homes are, up and down, ebb and flow. 799, just under 800 is where they're sitting right now. New non-distressed properties at 8,420. And again, there's no real worry in distressed inventory here. We're not even over 0.25%. Taking a look at pending, this is really, this is properties in escrow, granted. But what it is really is it says there has been a meeting of the minds between a seller and a buyer. And it also shows, when we look year-over-year comparison, it shows how many people are actually under contract in the marketplace. This is a good, a good indicator of how many people are out there engaging. And look, 5,562 right now. We were at 6,700. That was 1,200 more people engaged doing business last year than the year before. And to the right was 5,077. So we're better still than in 2019. And the nice thing here, the green part, is that there's a little bit of a cooling off over last year. This is, again, what's helping us replenish our inventory, while our inventory really is growing. Taking a look at the closed units for the month, wow, 6516, another red ticker. We aren't exceeding last year's numbers yet. And obviously, depending upon when those closed numbers come in, that's the difference between the salmon 5470 and the 5557, which was reported in September last year, is just how many have closed at this date in September. So that's why there's always just a little bit of an issue there. But again, looking all the way across, August, we had a red number. July, we had a red number. We told you when we did the August numbers last month that this is the second month. Well, guess what? September, May just end up being the third month in a row that we have a red. Now, red isn't bad. Red isn't Chicken Little. Red isn't, oh my gosh, the boom's crashing. None of these things are true. This is a very stable real estate market with great product at reasonable prices, believe it or not. It's realtors who are really driving the largest reasoning of increased prices. They're recommending this to their consumers. And it's not really the consumer who's the intelligent one. The consumer is the one who needs help with the process, just like when we go to a car dealer or we go to a doctor or we go to an attorney. It's the same kind of concept. So, when we look at these, what we say to ourselves is, yeah, you know what? The market is calming down. Taking a look at the month's supply, again, we're at 1 month's supply. We were just over 1 month last week. So this is a good sign. We finished last year at 1.02. You can see it in the salmon. We were at 2.5, but let's not go too far to the right. Let's just say 1.02. We're still hovering right about 1. This is a good sign. This means September is that cyclical month that we typically have, and it means that we're similar to what we were doing last year with the fact that of just 1,200 fewer people in the market. And prices, what's happening with the pricing? We look at this, and again, I'm not going to talk about the average list price right now. I'm just going to talk about the average sale price for time purposes. But I just want you to understand here, 474, we were at 501. The market didn't just crash $26,000 worth of price. We look at the salmon 411. Again, we haven't had a $60,000 increase in prices over the last year. We look to the right, we see 320,000, or go to last month at 491. Whatever number you're looking at here, this average, remember, is not the change in the values of the properties we're selling. This is just the average number when you're looking at MLS of what is closing. And because more properties are closing at 500,000 and over $1 million today, and fewer properties under 500, that's what's driving that number up. We do not get misinformed where you're trying to tell a client that we've had a 20% increase in value this year. We haven't. In fact, we'll probably come out somewhere between 12 to 14% when it's all said and done. And that is even exceptionally high for that. We should be somewhere closer to the 8%, 4 to 8%, to be honest. So just make sure that we're all abreast of what that number means. And then again, market is pretty consistent as far as the days on market is concerned. And so is the average list price to sale price retention. Again, that being the difference in the list price at the time the seller accepts that offer. So, looking at it from that perspective, what are we seeing? We're seeing a very balanced market. We're seeing growth. We're seeing cooling off. We're seeing inventory increase. There isn't really, although there's some red on this screen, there really isn't any reason why there's a problem. So this is a real good market right now. Just go out there and share, which will be a topic for Mike's 3-pack today. Go out there and share this information with people.
Absolutely.
Have a reason to have a conversation.
All right.